Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're following this. John Wekesa here, the All Seasons Lawyer. And in this video, I want to talk about something that happens every day on our roads, but very few people care to truly understand it. That is the fact that what you do immediately after an accident can determine whether you get compensated or you are left with nothing. Now, I'll start with a story. A few years ago, a man walked into a lawyer's office. He limped slightly. You could actually tell from the way he was walking that he had been through something. Let's call this man Mark. Mark was a border rider, a hard-working and consistent individual. The kind of a man who wakes up very early and sleeps late just to make ends meet. One evening, while Mark was heading home, a car suddenly swerved into his lane. There was no time for him to react, and suddenly an impact occurred. When Mark woke up, he was in a hospital bed. A broken leg, bruises all over, and a medical bill piling up. The driver of the car actually came to see him. He apologized and said it was just an accident. He even promised to take care of everything while Mark was undergoing treatment. And Mark believed him. After all, this was a person who had sounded to be totally genuine, because most individuals in such a scenario will have already run away. So Mark did not go to a police station immediately. He did not even collect any evidence, and he did not get the driver's full details. He focused on his healing. However, weeks later, when the hospital bill became overwhelming, Mark tried to reach out to the driver. Unfortunately, the driver's phone was off. The guy had in fact vanished. Now, that is when Mark decided to go and see a lawyer, hoping that he could at this point be able to pursue a compensation through a legal mechanism. But there was a big problem here. No police abstract, no witness statements, no proper documentation of the accident. Legally, his case was weak. In fact, a very weak one. Now, before I explain this further, if you are learning something from this story, take a moment, hit that subscribe button. Because here on this channel, we turn real-life legal experiences that can protect your rights and save you money, time, and stress. Now, back to our video. Here is the reality. In personal injury cases, evidence is usually everything. The law allows you to claim compensation for a number of things, including medical expenses, pain and suffering, and loss of income. But you must be able to prove that the accident actually occurred, and you know the person who was responsible for it and the extent of your injuries. And this is where Mark's case collapsed. Without a police abstract, there is no way official records of the case could be availed, and this was the tragic thing for his case. Without, again, witness statements, there is no independent account. Without proper documentation, this becomes a very, very difficult case to deal with. It is just your word against nothing. And in law, that is not enough. Many people make the mistake, and this is the same mistake that Mark made. They rely on verbal promises, sympathy, and informal agreements. But when things change, you realize that those promises will disappear. Now, here is what Mark should have done. And this is what actually every person needs to do in such a situation immediately after an accident. Number one is to report the accident to the police. And number two is to obtain a police abstract. Number three is to take photos of the scene and injuries. Number four is to collect witness contacts. Number five is to seek medical attention immediately and keep all the records. Because in legal claims of this nature, what you do in the first 24 hours can determine everything. So, what is the lesson here? Accidents are unexpected, but your response should never be. Because sometimes it is not the accident that costs you, it is what you failed to do immediately after the accident. And like I always say, ignorance of the law is not a defense in any case, or rather in any court of law. So we must all be very vigilant and watchful. I'll see you in the next video.